Hi.
Hi there.
I'm Dwayne, and this is Gail. Jerry Kelly is going to give us a presentation.
And welcome to our presentation of all the years gone by since we left high school and then some. Welcome aboard. Kelso, R.A. Long, Castle Rock, Mark Morris Monarchs, and Rainier. So welcome aboard. And as we've stated, most of us graduated in '64, some of us a long time after. We're interested in our history, and it keeps us young to come back. And I know many of our schools have monthly lunches, and there's Carol Oxford. She drove all the way up from California.
No, I live in Long.
Okay. And there's a long history in Cowlitz County. And we all know that basically our history depended on forest industry. We also depended on shipping. Columbia River was a major shipping point for timber, for people sending their products from the east side, wheat and whatnot, into our port to ship out to other countries. So we have a long history of helping the world get better. And as you all know, when we first came, most of us came to Longview, maybe in the 50s or early 60s, our population was 25,000. Does anybody know what Longview's population is now? 150. Yeah, it's pushing, it's over 50,000, so, you know, we've done well populating. So congratulations on that. We're going to introduce Dwayne Smith. He's going to give us a little history of what we have done here.
Not what?
No.
Yeah, we're going to introduce Joseph first.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. After all, I'm 79 years old, I forget. Joseph is the manager of our museum here and director. And he is not a native, but he is finding Longview, Cowlitz County, Kelso, to his liking, I assume. So give us a little history of what you do.
Well, first of all, I want to invite you all to just enjoy the museum here. This is a gem that we have here in Cowlitz County. You see other county museums, they're not as impressive, I think, as ours for the most part. We're a county of 115,000 people maybe, and this is a partnership between the Cowlitz County Historical Society, which is a nonprofit corporation, and our county government, and both together make this an outstanding facility that we have here. And we have staff that can go into our schools and do school programming. We have a curator who manages all of our collections, and then the county provides me as the director. We are definitely a department in our county. So we're a department that is about 50-50 funded by the nonprofit and the local government. So we're able to have an awesome archives here. Again, my name is Joseph Kovenik, and I've been here now, I can't believe how time flies, for 9 years. And you're the class of 1964, more or less. I was born 10 years later in 1974, so I'm in my early 50s. So I'm younger relatively, but I feel like I'm getting older too as I go visit my hometown in California. I talk to their historical society, and now I'm beginning to want to give them some items from my school days. We relocated here. I was at the Maritime Museum in Tacoma. I was the curator there before I came here. And then my wife and my daughter, of course, they came with me when I got the job. My wife works at St. Rose School as a kindergarten teacher's aide, and my daughter, Nora, goes to school there. And she is going to be tracking to go to R.A. Long when she goes to high school. That's the direction that we're looking at right now. We live near St. Rose School. Anybody know Bill Cheatley? New Bill Cheatley?
Yeah. You guys do.
Yeah. We live in his house. So we bought our house in 2019, right around Thanksgiving weekend. I did some homework with the city to see what kind of work orders were done, and I saw that there was this family that had been there for decades and decades, and it turned out it was Bill Cheatley's house. And then I talked to him, what everyone knew who he was. it was neat to make that connection, especially with somebody who likes history. I didn't know that much history about this area when I first started here. Of course, I've done some reading and growing up, and there is a remarkable history. The birth of Washington Territory is here, the building of Longview. I mean, there's so much amazing stuff that's happened right in this area, and we thoroughly love living here. So back in 1964, the museum was up in the annex building north of the old courthouse, which is now our county admin building, on the 3rd floor, so people had to walk up those steps to get there. In 1979, we came to this location, and then in 2003, this is before my time here, this room here and a lot of other structures in this building were added, doubling the footprint of this building. So I just encourage you to, after the program, to meander around our exhibits. We do have a temporary gallery that we just cleared out, so I apologize that it's empty right now, but it will be full of a new exhibit celebrating America's 250th anniversary. That will be installed in about 2 or 3 weeks. I also want to give a special thanks to Jerry for this wonderful program we're about to see. Jerry is a life member of the Cowlitz County Historical Society, and if any of you are members of the society and would like to renew your membership, Joanna can assist you at the front desk. If you're interested in becoming a member, Joanna can also assist you with that. We do rely on the support of memberships to help with the operations of this museum and with our programming, especially our school programming that goes out and supplements the curriculum in our local schools. So anyway, I think you're going to really enjoy what Jerry's going to have to share. He's got a wealth of knowledge and history, and I think this is going to be a nice walk down memory lane. And I believe, Jerry, you do a section about hairstyles and things like that. And I think that'll be a highlight here, to see how everybody's hairstyles are. So I'm going to bring this to a closer. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask me afterwards. I'll be here for the program and, of course, afterwards. And thank you all for coming here. The parking lot is completely packed. There's no more parking spots left. So I really appreciate it. So thank you all so much.
Now our class photographer, Dwayne Smith, has a few things about this that you'd like to tell us. If you remember.
I'll pull your chain. You're going to talk about this.
This is really well planned, you can tell. We all live, 40 miles, 100 miles away from each other.
You know, we should have the different schools raise their hand, Gail. Have the different schools raise their hand.
Okay, different schools, raise your hand. Okay, let's start with Rainier.
Hey.
And we didn't graduate from Castle Rock, did we? Okay, Mark Morris. Kelso. Whoa. Arylon? Some of us did both Kelso and Arylon. Did I miss anybody? Okay, thank you. Dwayne, it's up to you. Give us a few minutes.
Well, I don't have much to say. I'm going to make a video and put it on YouTube. No. And one advantage of YouTube is down at the bottom there's a little CC button.
That might be in that.
You can click, so it'll find out closed captioning at the bottom of the screen. So quite often that's very helpful, especially for people like me that have hearing aids. Anyway, class of '64, we had a great class, and we've got a great page for Facebook. We post a lot of stuff, posts, so I post. Anybody can look at that. Anyway, our history goes way back, over 60 years. I had a lot of fun in high school. I enjoyed the club activities. I was never into sports that much, but it was a great time. That's about all I have to say.
Thank you, Wayne.
That's because you open your mouth. And that's how we got to do this here today. And I really appreciate you all coming. You know, we talk about things, Mike one day at our one of the luncheons, and we were all talking about health problems. And he said, hey, guys, why are we talking about health problems? Let's talk about something else. And the next meeting, we're all talking about health problems again. Anyway, I'm a historian, local historian. One of the projects I did, I've been retired 20 years, so it was, I think, second or third year. I retired in 2006, which is 2009 when I started this. I scanned all the yearbooks for all the schools except Woodland. I think we have somebody in here from Woodland, don't we? Where'd he go? Well, he was right on my tail when we walked in.
He's older than he left.
Woodland just seemed to be a little bit too far, more Clark County. And I'm not saying I'm a perfectionist, but there have been times when I've gone out and done this scanning that I'd miss a page, and then I get to drive all the way back to that school. Another thing I found out that I had to do some of my scanning at the libraries. I found out it doesn't matter how old you are, those librarians are still librarians. And almost like the nuns with their little stick. What gave me the idea with this, I volunteered at the Castle Rock Exhibit Hall on Sundays. And people would come in on Saturday or Sunday when they had their reunions, and Castle Rock had gone to the trouble of getting those poster boards and putting every class on there from 1900 all the way up to the present time before they closed. Folks would come in, they'd flip those posters over and say, hey, look at me. There I am right there. And go over a couple or go back a couple, and there's my brother. There's my cousin and my niece and so forth. Go back 20 years, here's my folks, Castle Rock, small town. And go back 20 years before that, here's my grandparents. And I thought, that is neat. But why is it that we have to wait every 5 years to come in and be able to go through the posters, and why don't we do it on a computer? So that's what I did. It took me 9 years to scan all the yearbooks, and some of the yearbooks were difficult. Where's Mark Morris? Mark Morris had theirs just a little bit bigger than everybody else, and so I had to get a piece of glass to go in my scanner to match it up. And then, and anyway, what we're going to do is that's what we're going to look at today is some of the annuals that we have. At the end, you're going to see where it flashes back and forth, and it talks about $10. Well, I don't do the discs anymore. Nobody uses a computer that has a disc, and so I've got 5 flash drives with all 3 schools on them, and they're $20 each. Okay, now I think we can get the lights.
And you know how it is, anytime you go to a museum, you exit through the gift shop. So, that's the gift shop.
Okay, so what's included on those flash drives is we have all 3 schools. We have Kelso, Mark Morris, and R.A. Long. Now I'll open one up. Let's do Kelso first. And you say, well, what could he have possibly put on there? Well, I didn't scan all the pages. Come on, work for me. Well, it's supposed to open up. What I did is I did the cover, the 9th through 12th grade, some sports, and at the end of each one of the schools, in an Excel file listing all the graduates by year, last name, and first name. So if you see anybody get in trouble in the newspaper, you can go right over and you can find their name and go see what they look like. So I did this up to I did this up to 2018, and so, you know, you blink and all of a sudden all those years went by. What I was finding is people weren't getting their pictures taken. There might be 100 in the class that weren't having their pictures taken, and that just kind of took the steam out of this, the fun out of it, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a record of people in the classes and their pictures. Okay. So I won't go to any specifics. I've got in trouble with doing that before. Somebody wants to see a specific name, and I'm looking all over for it. So here's Ari Long. And Ari Long first started at Kessler Grade School, St. Helens Inns, and some homes until 1928, when the first graduating class was at Ari Long. They were the only class in the school. There weren't all the rest of them were still at Kessler Grade School, Kessler High School. So I'll open up one of these, and so this is all that's in that particular grade. And let's go back here and back one more time, and I'll do a little Mark Morris. Mark Morris started in 1960, the first graduating class. In 58, 59, they had a junior high. And so I was able to get one of the ladies' junior high annuals. Trouble was, she was so popular that everybody wrote over all their pictures. Anyway, that's going to be in there too. That's going to be the 58, 59, and then the first class of 60, and so forth. And then down here would be the Excel file on each one. I hope that's the Excel. That's not the Excel file. This one's the Excel file. And they're all alphabetical. So if we go down, let's see, this is by first name, then we have last name, then we have by year.
Wow.
If we go by year, we can see how many were in that class per year. So I understand Mark Morris and Ari Long are getting pretty low on students. They're thinking again about combining the two schools.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we want to do this before that happens.
Let's figure out what they're in problem with.
Yeah. All right. Well, believe it or not, Ari Long was Longview High School to begin with, wasn't it? Yeah. All right. So now we'll get into the program. See, this is well rehearsed. You see that? All right, I'm going to do a little talking, and we'll go through the different schools, and then at the last we'll have a little bit of music and so forth in there. Oh, I'm going to hit that. I got to get one tool here. A lot of pride in Kelso High School when it was on the hill. In fact, there's a lot of pride in Kelso, folks who went to Kelso and lived in Kelso. Kelso was in its own, wasn't it? You had everything that you needed. One car families, if they had a car, and so the husband probably took the car to work. And then in the late 60s, they started getting more than one car.
What year was Kelso, first year of Kelso High School?
Thanks for asking that, Ed. What a buddy. Yeah, it was, let me get that for you, Ed. Just, I have no idea. All right, it started in 1900. In 1911, they finally went, you'll see the school in here. In 1900, they finally went to a high school, where before that it was up to 8th grade. And you'll see the picture where, well, I don't have a picture of where it was a 2-room school, but I have a picture where it was a 4-room school, and that's where the Kelso offices are now. Thanks, Ed.
It's great.
Yeah. All right, let's see if this thing works. There we go. All right, I'm just going to show the schools here first. You can do a rah-rah if you want to. I went to Castle Rock, so it's a rah-rah. When they built that building in 1923, a lot of activity was going on in 23. Kelso had their new high school in 1923. Ari Long was, of course, building theirs in 1923. That was so shabbily built that nobody in the area wanted to build it, so someone came in from out of town to build it. And there was another school next to it that was the grade school. In 1949 earthquake, they had to demolish that school. But this one stayed there, and that's the one. I went to Castle Rock up to 9th grade. And the year I went to Castle Rock in the 9th grade, it was a 4-year high school. So we got to go uptown. You know, from 8th grade to 9th grade, we got to go uptown. And I moved to Longview, and I went to Monticello. We didn't get to go no place. I got Squeak Holbrook's class, if you guys remember. He was quite a sports guy, and then he was also a radio announcer and so forth. Anyway, that's their present school now. A lot of schools they're building now look like prisons. They've had some grade schools in the area look like that. All right, Kelso, give her a rah, rah, rah. There you go. Okay. So if you can imagine this building being cut in two, that part wasn't there until they started getting more students. They built it. Now I want you to look at that steeple right there. And many of you remember Washington Grade School. Some of you went to Washington Grade School. Well, they built Washington Grade School around the old school, and so you can see the steeple up there on top. And so that Washington Grade School, I don't remember what year that was tore down, probably in the 80s sometime.
In the 80s.
Yeah, yeah. All right, and there's the Kelso High School that the students were really proud of. You know, one thing they talk about in Kelso is the steps. There were steps from the top leading all the way down to Allen Street, and then somehow got across Allen Street to the field and back up the steps. And all kinds of horror stories about those steps. Even the band had to go down those steps. And I played sousaphone, but I didn't go to Kelso. I always wanted to be a piccolo player, you know. And I never.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Instead of a drummer, why didn't I pick up the damn harmonica?
It'll never work. You think of all those things you had to bring there? Yeah. So there's their new high school now. And you know, 1971, that's a long time ago, isn't it? Okay, what school is this? Claremont. And they pretty much stayed in their same school all along. It's the same with Tootle and the same with Mossy Rock. You know, if you start in Mossy Rock in the grade school, you go right next door to the junior high and then the high school.
Yeah, they're all in one complex.
Yeah, never get away from the place. All right, so come on, Mark Morris. There you are. Yay, yay, yay.
Yes.
All right, we're pretty proud of our school. Yeah. And Tootle, nobody here from Tootle, but they're the ones that stay in the same area. All right. Now, when I went to Mason County and Shelton, I went to their museum. They had one year that they didn't have, you know, pretty lean years. So this is going to be 1933. They didn't have anybody to take photographs. So one of the students drew the students. Isn't that something? Yeah. So a little statistics on what I did with the schools. Shows the year. Okay, Ed, where's that at? Kelso, 1911. Okay, Ed, 1911. I wish I'd remembered I had it here. What we see in the red is how many students, how many graduates they've had. Now, it's the sad thing about my scanning is I've got the juniors and sophomores, but I only listed the graduates in the Excel file. And then here is how many scans that I had to do to get that. In Castle Rock, I don't know if any of you have done anything with scanning and editing, but I did Castle Rock 2,349, and you always be careful when it says, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Sure, I'm sure." And I scanned them at half the resolution that it should have been, and I got to go back to Castle Rock and do it all again. So anyway, I have 3 scanners, 2 computers to get through this. And they did a paper did a article on 2010. What we did is we timed it just right for December. We advertised that we were going to have CDs for sale at $10 each, and there were several spots that we were going to have those. I think we had 400, and people bought them as Christmas presents, and we were sold out in 2 weeks. And then I had foot surgery the next year, and so I went ahead and did Kelso and R.A. Long, still staying away from Mark Morris. Then eventually I went ahead and did Mark Morris. So the CDs look like that. And I tried to do it by decade around there with the ladies. Guys' hairstyles didn't change very much, so I just put the ladies up there. And this one, my wife's not here, but that's an old girlfriend there. I snuck her right in the bottom. And Kelso. And I wanted to make sure that I got the bus drivers, the folks that worked in the cafeteria, and all those included in this. Some schools didn't do it. Are you there, Gail?
Were you able to catalog the names and stuff too? I mean, on your
well, they're written.
Printout sheet?
They're written underneath. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. $20. I don't want to hold you hostage or anything. In fact, I was in that last one. Something they don't do nowadays is they don't list all the activities with the students. I guess it's just demeaning for those who didn't do anything. And that's too bad. You know, when we played football, we just had one bar across. I think it was in the 50s when they finally changed over to putting a bar on the front. And I'm in the band back there with the sousaphone. More people rode buses back then in those days. Now their folks come pick them up.
Did you notice the one advertisement with the girls holding rifles? And we have a rifle club at Orion, and I know Kelso had a rifle club. Nobody can do that anymore.
No.
They don't allow women to carry firearms.
Okay, so Kelso was probably one of the best. Kelso and Tootle were probably one of the best schools that I had for consistent on the pictures. And look at all the activities that they did back in there. There's one from 52, 70, 97. I know some folks go back and they look at their picture and those hairstyles and they say, well, why did I ever wear something like that? But you see the similarity in some of the hairstyles. R. Long got a little screwy in their pictures. If you paid more money, you got to have your baby picture.
What?
Your baby picture. A little bit less, you got a little bit right up with some color in there and splashes. And then if you didn't pay as much, you got this. And they aren't annuals that you would be proud of to go back and look at. Castle Rock is one of the first schools that started going out to locations and having their pictures taken. And it might have backfired on them. let's look here.
Come on now.
So the next year, we went back to headshots. This is the last part you have to listen to me. Businesses, we can all remember those businesses that we went to in those days. The Tobiasons, for example, you could smell the wax on the floor and the squeak, and Woolworths, the lunch counter that they had. And I remember the Columbia Theater had a hamburger joint right next to it, that they'd give you your hamburger through the, Okay, and the one you're going to like is the Students by Decade. And 25 was the earliest I could find on that, all the way up to 2010. The girls will be on top, and the boys will be on the bottom there. Watch similarities in the hairstyles. Okay, so I think we're ready to. Hopefully the music will start.
That's what I thought.
Anyway, that's it.
Good job, Jerry.
Since you've all just had a trip down memory lane, we'd love for some of you to stand up and tell us what maybe your favorite experience was during that time, your high school years. or something
Talk
funny.
about it.
I'll have to stand out so you understand what I mean. This wonderful man here, he and I were rivals. He had the best Chevy running in this town, and I had the best Ford pickup truck. My truck had a Hemi engine in it, Olds hydromatic transmission, tuck and roll upholstery, and I never lost to this guy in a drag race on Nichols Boulevard. And we didn't get arrested on Reynolds Road either, at least I didn't. I don't know about you.
I'm gonna put a sock in your mouth.
I actually still have my truck. And I'm sure others of you have stories that would be fun to tell, so please just stand up and give us a story. You weren't all angels, I know that. Some of you had your names in the paper.
How about Kelso telling us about the stairs or something?
Oh, yeah.
One of you talked about the stairs.
Well, didn't you lose a classmate that fell on the stairs and passed away? Like in 1958, 59?
Really?
Oh, 58.
I'm thinking it was like Mike Lyons, was that it? I'm not sure. He seemed like one of the first people that the class lost.
Stairs were my most hated thing in school.
Yeah.
My coach, Jim Shaw, made us run those stairs every day, twice, all the way down and all the way up, all the way to the class.
So did you learn to swear?
I don't know
Oh,
who,
I knew it before then.
I don't know who stole our lumberjack, but either Kelso and they threw it in the river. And how we ever got it back, I have no idea.
I think Kelso was the one that took
I think Kelso was the one that did it too.
Kelso got blamed for
Well, as you were watching and seeing some of the old companies that were here, did any of you work for any of these companies that Jerry showed us?
I don't think we saw fiber up there, did we? We saw Weyerhaeuser and Reynolds.
Laundry fiber? So Mary Jane, 23 years at the fiber, that's great.
Longville.
Longville. Where did you work in Longville?
Building cabinets.
Oh, cabinets.
in the cabinet there.
You know, I went to Castle Rock, as I said, and we had a sand lot for a football field, and we had one 300-watt light bulb. When I came to R.A. Long, I couldn't believe it. The stadiums, the grass, beautiful school, wonderful, wonderful memories. I think Sarah's cutting the cake back there, so a little bit we'll have cake and,
Yes.
I think my class was the only third grade class that went to the Kelso YMCA upstairs.
Really?
Mrs. Jones was a teacher.
Did you know that?
no, that was a forestry building before it was a YMCA
It was a forestry, it was a YMCA building upstairs.
upstairs.
Yeah.
Sure.
And she was in charge of us from the time we got to school to the time we left.
How do they get a swimming pool up there?
It was kind of hard. We had Bob Rowley was in our class, and he came down with polio. So we all had to get the gamma globulin shot in the cheek, you know, so it was kind of challenge there for a while.
Did you live close by?
Oh, I lived up on Hossa Road,
Oh, all the way out there?
yeah.
Yeah. You was kind of in the sticks, weren't you?
Oh, yeah, we were up in the sticks.
I think of all the folks, we consider Coal Creek kind of the sticks. All the folks that lived in South Kelso, that was your neighborhood. North
Yeah.
Kelso, that was your neighborhood. Not too much out east at the time.
And during the Columbus Day storm, I saw, we were up there, we would watch the transformers blow in town, because we were above the airport, right? So you could see the transformer blow, and all of a sudden there was no lights in that block. Then pretty soon another transformer blew, and there was no lights down there.
And that was the Columbus Day storm?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to the movies with a friend, and he had a really nice 55 Chevy, and we were going down Commerce, and the wind picked the car up and did a complete 180 and set it back down.
Is that right?
I was like, what, 16 back then in that time, 16, 15? And I went, I want to go home, I want my mommy. We lived on the 500 block of 18th, and we couldn't get there because all those horse chestnut trees had fallen in the road. So we walked back there, and no lights, no power. My dad had a Vision City barber shop. He couldn't leave the barber shop. The windows blew out. And finally, about midnight, he managed to come home. But, you know, there's a lot of stories about the Columbus Day storm. I know Dolores' family lived out in the sticks, and I'm sure they were a long time before that, for over a week.
Yeah. I lived on
I
the
remember-
road over here, and the trees were down any direction we went.
Yeah.
So my dad got the chainsaw and had us cut through so we could get to town. And it was amazing how many people in the neighborhood just worked together and tried to.
Yeah, everybody grabbed a chainsaw.
On the way going over to his girlfriend's house. She just passed away last year. I was in the same, I was just as, you know, crazy moment. She was my neighbor, and she was interested. Anyway, she had cancer and, she's, missed her forever.
You know, on Facebook, there's a, you know you're from Kelso, Longview, and ... There's a lot of Columbus Day storm pictures on there. And you know, my mom was a photographer and a writer for the Longview Daily News and for Weyerhaeuser and things like that. So she and I went out the next morning and walked the town so she could take pictures. And a lot of her pictures I posted on that Longview Kelso site. And Jan Fardell, that was a well-known photographer.
Remarkable.
Just an amazing man. And his son has posted a lot of pictures of his dad down out here too. So, you know, there's a lot of history on Facebook if anybody's interested in looking at that.
When I think back about it, I think everybody can remember when they got the news that John F. Kennedy was assassinated. Everybody can remember where they
were
were.
at that time? We were having our senior assembly when it was announced that